Welcome back, Connor.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Yes, I mean, now you just
Yeah,
it's become the highlight of your week.
Oh yeah, I mean, ever since y'all set me up with an office with with a window overlooking the field and everything. I know y'all are down here, underneath Kyle Field, but
Right.
I have my office up in the press box now where I can look out over the field, and,
We
get some good
finally-
sunlight. So it's great. I've got a couple computers set up. It's a nice space.
Yeah, I mean, we finally got that contract sent on this
Right.
show. It required a office for Connor,
Right.
And,
I have my
food
yeah.
and beverage.
It was quite lengthy.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
your people finally got through to my people. My
That's
people
right.
were fielding. They've been
Lengthy
fielding
talks.
They've been fielding a lot.
They've been
of
very
phone
busy
calls.
these
I
past
know. We
couple
thought he's
weeks.
going to hold out for a while
Yeah.
if he didn't get all he wanted, but
It was dicey.
We're letting you do the honors now on the intro of your guest of choice this week, the man who won the battle and then that long line to come with you. Tell us who you have this week.
None other than the GOAT, Mr. Jake Hubenak.
Wow. I appreciate that. It's quite the honor to join the weekly segment of the Red Zone. Early on in the season, he promised me that I would be on the show, and I'm thinking like week 2. I feel like I'm like that high on his list.
Mm-hmm.
A couple weeks go by, and I'm like. Like
You're sweating.
I don't know
You're
where I
getting a little
fall.
worried, aren't
and then
you?
he tells me that I was being saved for Bama week. And I was like, I guess that makes up for it.
Well, we were talking on our Wednesday show about that. We usually, if Connor has the guest lined up by Wednesday, we kind of promote it and announce it on Wednesday. And we said that Matt and I on Wednesday, we thought Hubenak would have been an earlier guest.
Right.
We
that's what I
expected
thought
him
too.
earlier in the
Right,
season.
but you
Bama week
you
is
can't bring
great.
out all the big guns early.
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
Save the best for
it's
middle.
Middle.
Yeah, save the
you
best
know?
for the
Best
middle.
for the
Right? It's a long season.
Not first,
and,
not last.
Being
middle.
being a true professional, you
After
have to
bye week.
Yeah, you've got to look out at the schedule. And, see what we've got. And, see what would be some good guests on the
Yeah.
show for potential matchups and things like that. So I think it really it was more of a preparation deal more than a favoritism list per se.
But you know what that also means? If you save the best for the middle, we're peaking now. It's all downhill.
Yeah, that's true.
the
I don't-
rest of the way.
Well,
You're
we
gonna-
say you gotta get
I'm
better.
interested to see what's to come.
You
the
got to
next
get
couple
better
weeks.
each and every week,
Yeah.
and I think if that is the case, then I think you and I will have to take that strain and step up our
Yeah.
performance
It's up to
each and
us
every
now.
week if the performance from the said guest is going to dwindle from here, which I don't expect it
see,
to. But
I mean, see, at this point,
Repeat guests who do well, we're not against that.
that's true.
We're
That's
not
true.
against that.
I mean, we're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to go back and review the tape
You're
and
being
see where
monitored
we're
here,
at.
Jake.
Right, we're halfway through the season right
I
now.
mean, I feel like this is kind of like a tryout to see
Right.
if
It's a
I
tryout.
can
It is.
make it back for maybe bowl game appearance.
Oh, look
you
at
know,
that. Look at that. Those are usually done on the road.
yeah.
And then we can, get from the team hotel. So
from the roof anywhere really.
roof of the downtown city
Yeah,
Right.
that we are located in for the bowl game, which you guys are bowl eligible.
That's true.
Already,
We are.
halfway through
Going
the season.
bowling.
Yeah.
Going bowling.
Let's not stop there, though, guys. Let's go for more than just the 6.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Obviously, it's Alabama this week, and we're on the Red Zone here with Connor McQueen and Jake Hubenak. 2 undefeated teams. I was looking this up earlier. There's only 11 undefeated teams left in FBS football, and you get 2 of them matched up this weekend in Tuscaloosa. And just breaking it down, I've noticed you take A&M, Alabama, and Clemson. Those are the only 3 that remain undefeated while playing 5 Power 5 opponents. And then if you want to kind of whittle it down even more, it's just A&M and Alabama who are undefeated, who have beaten 3 teams that are still in the top 25. So it's almost as like the 2 teams that face off this weekend are the most legitimate of the undefeated teams nationally. But that's kind of for the fans. I don't think you guys are in meetings digging in to things
No,
like that,
no.
are
I,
you?
I think that's something to talk about, on forums and on Twitter and things like that to, get you through the week. But, I mean, I think one of the things that we're looking at is every game is going to be a big game. And, the games like this are why we come to Texas A&M to play. This is why we move to the SEC, so we can play in caliber games like this. And why we've also set ourselves up playing a tough non-conference schedule with some good opponents the last couple of years, opening up the year to where we get to this point in the season and it's basically win or go home, and each week is a big week, and it continues to get bigger throughout the season.
Yeah, and Jake, I don't think people realize how much you guys are ingrained in being just on to the next. I don't think you guys are looking at if we can beat Alabama, well, then this team's next, and we could have this record by this time. I mean, just how on to the next is the mentality.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about every week it's a 1-0 mentality. I mean, another big thing we talk about is it's about us. I mean, obviously Alabama's a great opponent. I mean, they're ranked number 1. Seems like every year the past couple of years they've won 4 or 5 national championships past couple of years. I mean, we know what they're going to bring to the table, but we know what we're going to bring to the table as well. So I think we're really just focused on, not so much what they're going to present to us, but what we're going to bring to them.
Mm-hmm. And that's what's kind of incredible about it. You guys beat Tennessee. And we were talking to Noel Mazzoni the day after Tennessee on Sunday before you brought him on the show. And it was kind of like, I think most people thought once you guys beat Tennessee, it was on to Alabama prep. I mean, let's dig into Alabama and let's get 2 weeks on them. Now, you had the off week and you probably spoke of Alabama. But I think people would be misguided to say this last week for Texas A&M was about Alabama prep.
Right, and I think really what we took our strategy as is, the coaches got a little bit extra time to game plan and stuff, and we put in a little bit of the base game plan whenever we were practicing on Wednesday or last week during the bye week. But I think really that bye week is mainly just to get healthy, especially it came at a very opportune spot for us, being halfway through the season, 6 games before, 6 games afterwards. And so we really took that time to develop the mental part of the game and really heal up some guys and get back more to 100%. But, I think just going on and not necessarily moving on to Bama, because we did a little bit, but we want to maintain consistency throughout the year, and I think that's one of the things that Coach Sumlin does a very good job of is making sure that each week is the same, whether it's a road game or a home game or an SEC opponent or a non-conference opponent. We really want to mirror each and every week after itself. So we don't necessarily want to spend too much time during that bye week on the opponent, or else it kind of gets almost to I wouldn't say monotonous, but to where we're repeating and saying a lot of the same things.
Yeah, and Jake, did the off week happen at the right time for this team?
Yeah,
considering
for sure.
What you're coming on.
Yeah, like he said, 6 games before, 6 games after, and he had a couple guys that are banged up, and it's just nice to get them healthy. Obviously, coming into Alabama and just this last stretch of the season, it's very important to us to finish just exactly the way we started.
Mm-hmm. And game will kick at 2:30 this week. These CBS games, they can stretch out.
Yeah.
4 hours 43 minutes on that last one, and I think we asked Coach Mazzoni this, and since we haven't played a game since, I'll ask Jake. I talked to guys after the game, and you guys have been a part of double overtimes and games that have gone past the fourth quarter. But 4 hours 43 minutes.
Yeah.
You ever done anything like that?
No, never before. And just the amount of injuries in that game and everything, it was long.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever watched a game that long. I can only imagine people sitting at home like it's the third quarter still.
Right.
Probably the night games were already starting, and we're like halfway through the third quarter.
I think that's right, because Alabama played Arkansas that night.
Yeah.
And I remember you guys.
Yeah, I remember seeing the score flash
right.
up on there.
That's when I realized how long that game was lasting. Whenever I saw Alabama and Arkansas were about halfway through the first quarter, and we're still in the fourth quarter.
And you get all your post-game stuff done, and you're leaving the stadium. I think they were about to hit the fourth quarter.
Right.
I remember too when one of their guys went down in the fourth quarter, the guy that had to get carted off. We're all sitting over there, and at one point the strength coaches had to come over and start telling guys, you need to start stretching. So we sat there for 10, 15 minutes, and I want to say the next play was like a crucial third down, or
I think
something.
You're right.
It was.
Towards the end of the game.
Was,
we needed to get a third down. When you think about it, guys are just sitting over there not doing anything for 10 minutes. You're gonna get cold. So
yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, that's a long time to be under kind of consistent physical and most importantly emotional psychological strain. That's a very long time without any dip there.
Yeah. And CBS, even without the overtimes, they can draw it out. They like their inventory.
Of course.
But it is nice to have game day, be the national game of the week, second one in a row. But when you think about the matchup, one thing, Alabama's got this thing going where they find ways to score. I mean, they've picked six people. It obviously happened to us last year when they came here. But the punt returns, the kick returns, they find these ways to score. I mean, is it just as simple as first things first on Saturday? Don't give them the football. Incomplete passes are okay for Trevor Knight and the quarterbacks. Just don't throw it to them. Does it start right there when you face Alabama?
I mean, I think any game that you play, it always comes down. What we always talk about with Coach Sumlin. He always talks about penalties and turnover margin, and that's that's one of the main facets of each and every football game that you play, and that's something that Alabama does very well, is that they do the little things right. So I mean, whenever they have an opportunity to make a big play and change the momentum of a game with a turnover, they take advantage of it. And I think that's where our defense has really grown this year. And you look at back at the Tennessee game, we had 7 turnovers. The ball's up in the air, our guys are coming down with it. The ball's on the ground, our guys are coming up with it. So, that's where you kind of see good defenses start to become great, is whenever you're taking advantage of those opportunities rather than letting them squander and then giving up a punt. We're getting the ball back and changing field position, and also, most importantly, changing the momentum of the game.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because it's actually Texas A&M number 1 in the SEC in turnover margin. So, and that plays into so many things. But on Saturday, Jake, something that maybe seems prevalent to me is that it'll be a very good matchup of Aggie wide receivers against the Alabama secondary. It just seems like our group with the wideouts is about as good as it gets in the country. Their group on the back end defensively is about as good as it gets in the country. For the Aggie receivers, and kind of both of you, I'll start with you, Jake. What do they have to do to win the matchup on Saturday?
I think the thing for them this week is just patience. The thing about Alabama's defense is they're so consistent with what they do. They don't throw a lot of looks at you, but you have to have all the respect in the world for them, because they'll run the same coverage a couple times in a row, but their guys know how to read their keys. They know exactly what they're looking for. And so I think the thing with, Trevor and the receivers is we just got to, we can't always try to look for the big play. We got to take what they're giving us. I think the receivers just have to be ready at any moment. When they're in their one-on-one matchup, they got to go win it.
And is it a game where those 50-50 balls?
Right.
That they'll be out there for somebody to take.
Without a doubt. Yeah. And that's one thing we've been stressing all week, is outside receivers, especially since they're on an island with those cornerbacks, win your one-on-one battles. So it's, get those 50-50 balls, which we've done a great job. Speedy and Josh Reynolds, they've done a great job making those 50-50 catches. So I think that's one of the big things. And I know Alabama takes great pride in that with their secondary, trying to win those one-on-one battles, so that way they can give their defensive front a little bit more opportunity to rush the passer, keep those linebackers in there to stop the run, and isolate those corners and their safeties and their nickel defenders, because they have so much faith in those guys to lock down receivers for long enough until their pass rush gets to the quarterback.
Now, at the same time, it's Noel Mazzoni. He's going to want to run the football against Alabama. There's a matchup right there. The Aggies rushing the football. Alabama's number 1 in the SEC in rush defense. Almost kind of the same question. How do you win that matchup, as it will be so key on Saturday?
It just comes down to physicality and controlling the line of scrimmage, especially in the SEC. That's something that you don't necessarily hear in a lot of other leagues, but you hear it every single game and every single week with these SEC games, is whoever controls the line of scrimmage is going to usually win the football game, whether it's from the defensive side of the ball or the offensive side of the ball for both teams. And I think that's one thing that we've struggled with in the past, is that at least the last couple of years, we've been, for lack of better words, dominated up front at the line of scrimmage, to where we've got to do a better job of getting to the second level, getting our guards and tackles and our center up to those linebackers and not letting those guys penetrate and make plays at the line of scrimmage. We need to get downfield a little bit more, and I think we've got some good schemes and some good blocking techniques and some good plays installed in the game plan, in which is going to kind of enable us to do that.
What is the biggest key with that offensive line improvement this year? Because you mentioned at times against SEC teams, maybe a little overwhelmed in the past, but this year you've seen them push some people around. Is it a Jim Turner effect?
I think I was about to say that. I think what's been overlooked this year is the effect that he's had, not only on their play but on their confidence. I think he's given them a confidence that they're the toughest guys out there. Avery's the only one. Jermaine started in the bowl game, but Avery's the only one that started multiple games before coming into this season. And, I think that he just gave them the confidence that y'all can go out there and y'all can be the best group on the field. Y'all can dominate the line of scrimmage, and we can run the ball down people's throats. And, obviously, we've done that so far this year, and I think he's really instilled in them that they can be the best group on the field.
Mm-hmm. And also wanted to ask you guys about Travion, because he's so important to the run game, and he's a freshman. He's burst onto the scene. I listened to a couple of Alabama press conferences this week, one with Saban, one with their linebacker, Sean Hamilton, and they actually mentioned Travion by name. That's how impressed they are with him. What impresses you guys most about Travion in his first year in the SEC?
I think for me, it's his ability to get better as the game goes on, and that's something that you see with great running backs throughout time is these guys get better as the game goes on, and you see the fourth quarter, that's when you really start to put your foot on the gas and really start breaking off those big runs, which can kind of be the dagger in some games. And that's something that I see in Travion that's honestly pretty exciting for us as an offense and as a team that he's playing for us, is that he's breaking off these big runs, not necessarily in the first, the second, the third quarter, but in the fourth quarter when we need it, when we're trying to control the clock, when we're trying to control time of possession and run that, what you call 4-minute offense. And it seems that he gets better as the game goes on. And that's something that you don't usually see with a young guy, especially a true freshman, because he, coming from high school, he hasn't been in games like this necessarily to where you have to be conditioned to play for 4 quarters and on into overtime. And I think that's something that's been honestly pretty surprising for me is seeing how he can come in and play a complete game like that.
Yeah. I think first of all, with me, I would say his, kind of like Connor said, his patience. Just, sometimes it's not there in the first couple quarters, and then, he sticks with it. He doesn't try to do too much outside of what he's been taught to do. He doesn't, you don't see him running to the right and then trying to run all the way back to the left. He's being patient. He's finding his holes. And second, his maturity. What happened in the Tennessee game, a lot of people would crumble after what happened to him, and he came to the sidelines and he was ready to go the next series, got the ball, ran all the way down the field, gave us an opportunity to win the game at the end. He wasn't pouting on the sidelines. We didn't have to put another running back in there because he was, too boggled from what happened. He was, obviously he was upset about what happened, but he wanted to fix his mistake and be better because of it.
Mm-hmm. Well said on that. And before we go, this last Pulse, I don't think either of you have checked it out yet, but it aired yesterday. And now the Red Zone here with Connor, when he brought Noel Mazzoni, it made an appearance on the Pulse. But if you go further into that show, there's a little segment on Chief, and I didn't know this about him. Mm-hmm. Did you guys know he rides that Harley around? Did you even know he had a motorcycle?
I had heard before that he does a little riding, but I had never, that's about it. Just in hearsay, I'd never seen it or anything of that nature. So I'm pretty excited to see Mr. Chief on the hog.
Yeah,
I've never heard anything about that. That's.
No.
That's a sight to see.
If we're being honest with ourselves, it's not that surprising.
Yeah, it's not surprising. When you really think about it, it's
man.
All right. That makes sense.
You look at his mustache is one of the more impressive things that you could see. Of course.
Early on the Red Zone this year, Boone Niederhofer paid homage to Chief's mustache.
Boone's mustache sucked compared to Chief's.
Well, it did,
right.
But he made the effort.
That's right.
Also for the fans to know, the quarterbacks have a little surprise coming up in November. A little no shave November surprise for the fans.
We're doing this. We're doing this.
Yeah. We gotta.
For the radio audience,
we have to see. We have to see if he can get it going at first, but.
He's going to fall behind early, but can you just get anything?
But I think by LSU he'll be ready to go.
You've always kind of bearded a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. How long does that go back? I know you shave, but how long have you been wearing bearded facial hair
in about 6th grade. Look.
This
in
guy.
6th grade,
Georgetown, Texas.
But in 6th grade I saw a little hair, and so I was like, I need to shave that. and so I shaved it,
In
and
the
then
sixth grade,
you
first
shave.
time
So
you
then you shave, it keeps coming back more, and I didn't realize that
Thicker
in
and
6th
fuller
grade.
and-
So then I've got this full-grown mustache, and no rest of the facial hair. So luckily the facial hair came in, I want to say sophomore year of college. So
This is
I had to live like 6 years with just a mustache and no facial hair. So luckily it finally caught up.
I don't think Connor's fired up about this no shave November.
I don't know. I'm having mixed emotions over here in my chair.
He's gonna.
I mean,
have
he's
to go deal with
outnumbered.
that.
Me and Trevor are both on board. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, could Starkle do this? Starkle doesn't. Any other guys in there? Could
Starkle's kind of
Starkle will never grow a mustache.
Starkle's kind of the outcast sometimes.
Who rooms with him on the road?
I do.
And you're with Trevor, right?
I am.
Yeah, I think they got the senior buddies together, and I
Yeah.
got left with the freshmen.
You haven't
so.
gone to whoever makes the travel agenda to. Can the
I-
freshmen go?
I decided, maybe I can look at it as an opportunity to, mature Starkle a little bit
Ah, there you
as the
go.
years go on.
There you go.
so.
Just
He'll
the
be
beard.
fu-
Just show him the beard.
Yeah,
He's
And,
been asking if he could get a radio shout out on the show. So
Something tells
this
me-
is his shout out here of us
There's-
talking bad about him. So
Here you go, Starkle.
grow up,
Something tells
Starkle.
me-
He wants his name thrown around. I don't think he really cares how his name is thrown around as long
Right.
as his name is mentioned.
Don't be a freshman, Starkle.
So-
Right.
There you go. Don't
you
be
go.
a freshman. Sage advice from the wise man.
Yeah.
From some of the oldest guys on the team.
That's right.
We're just the grumpy old men. Just walking around these dang freshmen. Get out of here.
Oh,
Get out of my face.
good stuff.
No, I don't want to sit with you at lunch.
He doesn't sit at the A table. Well, fellas, it's been fun watching you guys. I hope you enjoyed the off week, a little rest, maybe get away from football a little bit, and right back to it. The grind starts in Tuscaloosa on Saturday. All the best to you guys.
Yes, sir.
Thanks,
Thank
Bo.
you.
Looking forward to
Appreciate
it.